The battle of billionaires. From allies in war to allies at war. Big beautiful bill triggers big breakup. Elon's shocking turn jolts the right. The X Factor, Trump versus Musk, big focus on NewsTrack.
The gloves are off, no holds barred fight that's playing out between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And for all to see, in a public spectacle, they've been fighting it out on social media over the big, beautiful bill. I've not made up that name. That's actually what the bill is called. You're watching NewsTrack. I'm Akshata Nandagopal. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to be decoding what this entire tussle between Trump and Musk is all about. And will they actually go ahead and reach some sort of a middle ground? Will there be mediation? Will they end this scuffle? We're going to be talking about that and much more. Let's begin. Many would say that this has been a long time coming. The fight between Elon Musk and President Donald Trump. The relationship between them rapidly unraveled, escalating into a high-profile political and personal feud with implications far beyond just social media barbs. According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump is now considering getting rid of his red Tesla, a vehicle that he actually bought earlier this year, just months ago, as a show of support for Musk during a wave of anti-Tesla protests. He's clearly having second thoughts now. Once a symbol of alliance, the car now sits parked outside the West Wing as a quiet reminder of that fractured partnership gone sour in just a matter of 24 hours. Donald Trump told multiple US media outlets that he has no plans to speak with Elon Musk, dismissing the tech billionaire as a man who's lost his mind in calling. He's called Elon a poor guy who's got a problem. That's how Donald Trump has described him, saying it doesn't matter to him what's really happening with Elon Musk. Despite the tension, US media has confirmed that Musk may actually meet with White House aides in a possible effort to de-escalate for a ceasefire. A sign both sides may recognize the broader political and, importantly, economic implications as well. Now, as the public spat between Donald Trump and Elon Musk escalates from sharp social media jabs to threats over government contracts, many Americans are reacting with a mix of disbelief and also a tinge of amusement. Americans are weighing in on what's become that very public unraveling of the once curious alliance between two of America's most polarizing and yet powerful figures. Listen in to what Americans have to say about what's been playing out.
I think it was pretty predictable. I mean, you look at some of the other players like Michael Cohen and some of the other people that he's had that, you know, supported him and have been friends with him and been in business with him. It seems like a lot of people have turned on him over the years. So
they're two guys who are very powerful and they have big egos. And I don't know how much of it is staged as well. You know, Trump is a reality TV guy and people say he's said so much stuff on social media, even before he ran for president, to get attention. And it's so hard to know like how much of this is staged and how much of it is real. I think social media is a very toxic tool for having debates. And I think if I were to give them professional advice, gentlemen, get into a room and hash out your differences like we all do in the workplace. And hopefully that'll lead to a better outcome, I guess.
It looks like a lot of petty fighting, a lot of male hubris, just out on display.
I mean, the odds of actually guessing what's going to come next has never been as weird as now. Yeah. I don't think our country's ever experienced this exact circumstances. Maybe similar, but the world was different then.
That relationship was doomed, just like so many of the other relationships that happen between the president and other people at that level. It seems like they kind of use each other for whatever it is, but I'm not real surprised that that's happening at all.
So almost every American dismissing this feud and saying that, you know, this is just downright ugly. And the world is watching because in a matter of 24 hours, the Trump-Musk relationship has imploded. Once allies, now adversaries fighting it out on social media. But what exactly happened? Why have we got Epstein, impeachment, all of it being dragged in by Trump and Musk. In our next report, we first decode for you what was the trigger for this kind of a fight.
The Trump versus Musk fight has turned into a full-blown war. It all started with the first public takedown of Musk by the US president.
He knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody. And he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next.
The big beautiful bill that triggered a Musk meltdown got a strong reaction from the Tesla CEO. Musk declared on Twitter that he had never seen the bill. Trump hit back, calling Musk an ingrate billionaire and accused him of throwing a tantrum after losing electric vehicle subsidies.
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot. He's not the first. People leave my administration and they love us. And then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it, but we have it with others too. They leave and they wake up in the morning and the glamour's gone, the whole world is different, and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it and you'll let us know.
Elon Musk fired the next shot, saying Trump owed his 2020 win to him. He even put up a poll on his social media platform X, asking if he should float his own political party. Trump then escalated the feud, going on to declare on his Truth Social platform that he will be cutting subsidies given to Musk. That made the SpaceX founders say that he would begin decommissioning SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft. Dragon is the only US spacecraft capable of sending astronauts to the International Space Station. Then the bombshell, Musk vowing to support Trump's impeachment, calling the bill and Trump's conduct a betrayal of every principle he once pretended to stand for. The feud hit the roof when Musk accused Trump of suppressing the full Jeffrey Epstein files, saying that Trump himself was named in the sealed documents. The political fallout had financial consequences. Tesla stock plunged, erasing $153 billion in market value and wiping over $20 billion from Musk's net worth in hours. Two egos, one broken alliance, and a whole nation watching the fallout unfold in real time. Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let me bring in on this broadcast Professor David K. Johnston, journalist and author. He's a professor of public policy at the Rochester Institute of Technology. Professor Johnston, thank you very much for your time. I don't think any of us are really surprised by what's happened, but was it really just a matter of time before this kind of an ugly public spat between Musk and Trump?
Oh, absolutely. All of Donald's relationships eventually come a cropper because everything with Donald is transactional and it's based on loyalty to Donald personally. And so once you have a significant disagreement, things begin to fall apart. In this case, Elon Musk, having gotten rid of all of the sources of accountability for his government contracts, inspectors general, lawyers, contract officers, had a person he wanted to run NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, where he has billions of dollars in contracts, and Trump said no and picked somebody else, and that's where this all began to fall apart. Essentially, you have two very corrupt men trying to divide up what they regard as their right to the spoils.
But who do you think, Professor Johnston, I'm curious to know, has more to lose in this feud, Trump or Musk, and why?
Oh, I think Musk is much more in jeopardy. First of all, he lost $20 billion yesterday in the value of his Tesla stock, which he's borrowed against to finance other ventures. And Musk certainly has in his contracts with his bankers requirements on keeping a certain minimum level of net worth and a certain amount of cash flow as a condition of his loans. And Trump spoke about canceling contracts that Musk has with the government, which would be devastating to the finances of the richest man in the world.
But do you also think, and yes, you've said that, Musk is going to suffer maximum the consequences of this kind of a rift, but does something like this also dent Trump's popularity, as Musk seems to suggest, Professor?
Well, it won't hurt Trump one bit with his base followers, who are 25% of Americans. They're going to be with Trump no matter what he does. As Donald said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not lose a vote. But it is exposing rifts in the Republican Party, particularly the U.S. Senate, over what Donald calls the big beautiful bill and Musk calls the big ugly bill. Yeah. And I think the facts on that one are much more with Musk.
And let's just talk about that big beautiful bill. First, I cannot believe that's the name of an actual legislation. But if there's been such a pushback on this bill, on this reform, Professor, what really explains why Trump, despite that, has remained stubborn on this particular bill?
Well, Donald has no idea what's actually in his bill, nor do many of the Republicans. And several Republicans who voted for it in the House have come out and said, I don't know what's in it. It was just the Republican bill we're to vote for. And so Trump recognizes this not as a matter of policy, fiscal prudence, of providing for those things that will make the American economy best. It's what feeds his ego. And remember, Donald confirmed something last month that I've been saying since 2011, that he believes he is the only person who could possibly be president and be competent, and that he thinks he should run the whole world. And what did Trump tell Atlantic Magazine 14 years after I first said that? I run the country and the whole world. And to Donald, the details, they're insignificant. This is all about the image of him in the world.
And my final question to you, Professor Johnston, is, how is this going to end? What's going to happen next? Do you think there's going to be some form of mediation? Is that what it will take for Trump and Musk to get back together and at least be on, the same page now? Do you think it'll take mediation or some outreach from the White House or vice versa?
Well, at the moment, Donald is trying to get some kind of reconciliation. He's backed off a little bit of his most flamboyant statements about Musk. They will have to come to some sort of an accord, or there's going to be a serious meltdown in other areas he doesn't want. And right now, Republican leadership in the U.S. Senate and apparently also in the House is trying very hard to shore up support for the spending bill because of the Molotov cocktail that has been thrown into this by Elon Musk. But at the end of the day, there'll be some kind of relationship there. Donald, for example, got rid of his advisor, Stephen Bannon, some time ago over a disagreement they had. Donald still listens somewhat, if not directly, then indirectly, to Bannon's generally pretty sound advice about this bill.
Okay, we leave it at that. Professor Johnston, thank you very much for your time, for joining us here on India Today and helping us really decode what's been playing out between Trump and Musk. And, at this point, it's impossible to say what's going to happen next because you have two extremely volatile, unpredictable characters indulged in this very public spat, despite the fact that both of them hold such important positions, one of them being the president of the United States. But what really is the bone of contention here? I've been referring to it as a big, beautiful bill. I've not made up that name. It's actually the name of the legislation. It's one big, beautiful bill is the name given by Donald Trump. Typical of him. But what exactly is this bill about? Well, the White House, it's a budget reconciliation bill. So essentially, it makes 2017 tax cuts permanent. Now, the argument against that, which Musk has been talking about, is that this kind of a tax cut raises your debt ceiling, which is why he's been opposing it tooth and nail. Now, what this bill does, the White House has been speaking about it, saying it ends taxes on tips and overtime as well. So they've said that that's hugely beneficial. There's no question of any sort of blowback. Now, as far as Elon Musk goes and those who are against it, they say that all of this kind of budget reconciliation will actually lead to deficit spiraling out of control, and therefore the economy of America will be dented. But contrary to that, Donald Trump, the White House have maintained that this actually boosts domestic manufacturing because there are tax breaks. So it will be beneficial to the people of America. Now, as far as the argument against this bill goes, they say that millions could also be affected in the sense that they could lose Medicaid. And I'll bring that to the next point. The reason that they say many could lose Medicaid is essentially because at this point, the bill also talks about targeting waste and fraud in Medicaid and in food aid. It also protects pregnant women, disabled and elderly. How does it do that? Well, it essentially ensures that there is also some help that's given to them. So that's part of the legislation. But Musk has always said that this actually will only ensure that there's income inequality, that the differences will grow as a result of these kind of deals. But mind you, while you see all of these differences being played out and we've got you the arguments for and against, Donald Trump maintains that the reason Elon Musk is against it is because part of the bill also talks about cutting off any sort of perks that you get for clean energy, for endorsing clean energy. And obviously with Musk having Tesla, that does hit him hard. So Trump says that's the reason he's opposing this big, beautiful bill, as it's called. Now, in a 2021 interview, we want to take you back in time to a clip that's going viral right now because Musk made his stance on government subsidies crystal clear. He said scrap them all. He argued that neither electric vehicles nor traditional energy industries like oil and gas should receive taxpayer support. You had Musk at that point even rejecting the EV tax credit, dismissing federal funding for EV charging infrastructure, calling all of it unnecessary. Now, you know what his stand is.
We don't need the $7,500 tax credit. I would say, honestly, I would just can this whole bill. Don't pass it. That's my recommendation. Do we need support for gas stations? We don't. So there's no need for this for support for a charging network. I would delete it. Delete. I'm literally saying get rid of all subsidies, but also for oil and gas.
So as you heard from Professor Johnston, he did speak about how perhaps Musk could lose out way more than Donald Trump. Here's why. Musk's businesses now stand to lose big time. And we've already seen that in Tesla stocks crashing and the market suffering as a result. But let's explain to you how Musk's many businesses could suffer, starting off with Starlink. Well, if the government wants, if Donald Trump wants, he can really crack the whip on Elon Musk. Here's how. For Starlink, Federal Communications Commission is reviewing the bid for expanded satellite spectrum. They could go ahead and say no to Musk. What will that mean? It will affect Starlink's internet expansion plans. So there you've got Musk's growth plans being curtailed. As far as SpaceX goes, Environmental Protection Agency essentially regulates site impact wastewater discharge. If they want, they can go ahead and red flag SpaceX. They review launches, land, wildlife impact. So every single launch that SpaceX has, the government could go ahead and say, no, this is going ahead and impacting the environment. We're not going to allow it. Similarly, for SpaceX, the other aspect is that the Federal Aviation Administration proposed a $633,000 fine for license violations. This right now is a proposal. They could push for that money to be recovered from Elon Musk. As far as Tesla goes, we've already spoken about, the clean energy rebate that you get. That's not going to happen. But besides that, for Tesla, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is investigating the full self-driving system safety, which has been rather controversial. And it's something that's right now in the process of scrutiny. Now, they're probing several aspects of that. Robo-taxi launch, tech, weather response. If they want, they can go ahead and show a red signal to Musk moving forward with any more tech on that front. Then there's Neuralink, which is something Musk has been extremely passionate about. He's repeatedly spoken about it on X. Food and Drug Administration oversees clinical trials as well as device approvals. Trials, remember, were delayed due to safety issues. It's now ongoing, but you never know. The government may step in and say, look, we want to stop the clearance that we gave earlier, in which case all the growth that Musk is looking to see in a Neuralink could be stalled. And then, of course, there's a social media platform X. Securities and Exchange Commission lawsuit over Musk's 2022 Twitter acquisition is something that could seriously be a problem for Musk. He's going to be responding to the allegations next month. So this could be a huge roadblock for him, for his social media platform X. So every single company he owns, the government can go ahead and choke him if they want to. But let's recap for you. We've spoken about what's gone wrong between Trump and Musk. But let's go back in time to when things were good, not so long ago, how it started off. They were the odd couple of American power, Donald Trump, Elon Musk. One fueled by politics, the other by rockets. But behind the handshakes, behind the headlines, a bond that shaped policy, business, and global influence was formed. Now, of course, it's war. So from bromance to blow up, here's our report on exactly what happened, the rise and the fall of this very, very public alliance.
It started as an unlikely alliance. The real estate giant turned president and the tech titan obsessed with Mars. But by 2017, Donald Trump and Elon Musk were not just allies, they were in lockstep. From energy policy to economic strategy, Musk stood by Trump. Even after public backlash, he sat on the president's business council, appearing more loyal than most Republican senators. The bromance went global. Musk, once an outsider, found himself on calls with world leaders. Meetings with India's Modi, France's Macron, and even Korea's envoys. When Trump could not show, Musk did. It wasn't just policy, it was personal. Lilex, Musk's toddler son, was even seen skipping through the West Wing with Donald Trump himself. Tweet after tweet, Musk gushed admiration for Trump. The bromance was public, passionate, and powerful.
Well, I'm going to buy, and I'm going to buy because, number one, it's a great product, as good as it gets, and number two, because this man has devoted his energy and his life to doing this, and I think he's been treated very unfairly by a very small group of people. And I just want people to know that you can't be penalized for being a patriot, and he's a great patriot. And he's also done an incredible job with Tesla, and I mean, nobody else has a car company started up in the last 30 years that's been successful. I don't think so.
The tide has turned. The crack is wide open. From policy disputes to personal digs, their once powerful alliance turned into an open warfare. Contracts were pulled, accusations flew, and Musk's fortune evaporated by over $100 billion. The bromance has crumbled. No more tweets, no more handshakes. From Oval Office to open feud, the breakup is on the world stage. Bureau Report, India Today.
You can never really say what's going to be next with two characters like Donald Trump and Elon Musk. So volatile, so unpredictable. We'll continue keeping track of all the updates and reactions that come in from Trump and Musk. But that's all we have time for on this special broadcast. Thanks very much for tuning in.